welcome to Cosmos with Bailey. I'm Bailey and I'm a clairvoyant psychic medium based in New Zealand. And today's video is being one that I've been to do for a very long time. It's one of those things that you hear all the time. Just get in the flow of life and everything will be fine. And some people can do it easier than others. And a lot of the times people say it, it's one of those things that's sort of just really chucked around without really any understanding of how to get in the flow of life. And, it really is, you can try all the things under the sun and still not feel like you're flowing fully with life. And usually when you're flowing with life, things are very easy, they're very enjoyous, there's a lot of intuitive hunches and synchronicities. You feel like you're really one with the cosmos or your spirit and things are great. And then other times it's not like that, or you feel like you want it but you don't know how to get it. You maybe go try some yoga, but yoga doesn't get you into the flow. Or you could be very rigid in your energies and not know how to open up to flow. There's just so many ways or reasoning as to why you're not in the flow with life, or you know that you're rigid but you just can't open up and just let it go and flow. Oh, that's a good one. Let it go and flow. And also that is something, let it go and flow. And there's reasons why that may not be working for you, but okay. So I'm going to come from a spiritual healer's perspective, and I'm going to talk about life force, intuition, the inner realms, and instead of just saying to you, why don't you just let it go with the flow? Like, what is the flow, and why aren't I in the flow current state of life? It is honestly one of those elusive things, and you can look around and you can see some people who have it and others who don't, and there's a big difference in their quality of life. So, and a lot of people talk about things like Tai Chi and Qigong with getting in the flow of life, which is a really good way to do it, but I don't personally work with Qigong or Tai Chi. I never really got into it, and it just wasn't really my, okay, yes, okay, the flow, let it go and go with the flow. So, okay, so with flow, you're really wanting to work with life force, and we all embody life force. We all have an energy body and a chakra system, and it's not so much about it. Before you go into the external and say I need to flow, what you really want to do is get your life force flowing within. It makes sense that you want to start getting your life force flowing within, and then you'll find it easier to flow with the external and not get caught up in other people's flows or currents, and be able to stay on your own flow of current with the cosmos and the earth and your spirit. Yes. Okay, so first and foremost, some things that could be inhibiting your flow with life is very, very simple stuff like how you're brought up. And the belief systems that you may be holding you, or belief systems that may be governing you about how life has to be. Also, if you're holding in your childhood or teen trauma creates a lot of density in the energy body and in the flow and the current of your life force within the physical vessel. And if you know that you've had a very unloving upbringing, or you're struggling in your 30s and 40s with stuff that's coming up from your childhood, please go see a spiritual healer and start removing those dense emotions and feelings out of the energy body, because you'll be able to get more flow with life when you are flowing within. And it's sort of, And also, when we have a lack of life force and joy de vie, if our chakra system is not open, if we're not flowing with life force, because everything on this earth is created out of life force or spiritual energies, it just does not look that way. We are always in communion with the flow of life, we just don't know it. But also, things can happen that can inhibit our connection within to the flow and the external flow. So it's really important that if you're aware or this video triggers stuff for you, to go and sort out trauma. If you've had abusive relationships, if you've had unloving experiences, they are going to inhibit your natural state of flow, and there's going to be density and blockages in your natural energetic flow system of your life force and your spirit within, and that will affect your flow in the external 100%. So yes, the energy body and the chakra system. And also what happens is that when we lack life force in that flow state within, with our own natural intuition and our own trust and faith of our spirits, we can very easily listen to other people around us and sort of give our power away to other people who maybe have a more dominating or controlling energy, because we're not really trusting with our own natural flow state and where we're being guided. We may, instead of listening to ourselves, want to listen to someone else, and then we're giving away our natural flow to something that is not really in alignment with our natural flow state. Everything is within. So people around you can say things in your ears. They can say you need to go do this and that, when you had a very clear pathway that you were going to go and do X, Y, Z. When you're really in the flow, you just naturally go with what you need to do in the moment and what you feel guided to do. It's not so much about rigid lists and this, It's more like, yeah, I'm going this way. I'm going to do that when it's time. I know I'm going to do that and this and that. And there's just natural ease and flow. But that also has to happen with your chakra system and your energy body, your life force flow within. And they talk about the fountain of life. What is it? The vitality of your life force and how that creates your expression of life. And it's so true that if you're flowing within, you're going to flow with the external reality a lot more easier and be able to stay on your own current. Okay, so when you have lots of life force flow and you've let go of density, let it go and flow. So when you are more in flow, it's easier to let it go. And so what happens when we hold a lot of density in our energy body? We fight or heavy emotions, trauma, negativity, all sorts that could be going on in our energy body and our chakra system. Sometimes it's really, really hard to let things go, and we fixate on things, and this creates a lack of flow in our lives. We get very compartmentalized, and we can't just sort of have an emotion and then let it go. The emotion feels very dense, the idea or the belief feels really, really dense and heavy, and we can't just let it go and move on. Usually when you've got very high when you've got lots of life force flowing, it's easier to see the humor in things. It's easier to have a little sparkle in the eye and be like, yeah, let it go and flow. It's easier to let the heavy things go and then flow with life. But if you have a lot of heaviness and density within your life force flow, you're not going to feel like you're flowing 100%. And you can be very negative. You can blame and shame, and that's not really flowing because you're not sort of just flowing with other people's energy. You could have a lot of people around you that are not flowy themselves, and so it's hard to connect in with their energy and flow with what they're feeling and what they're up to in their lives. And it's usually when you've got a lack of life force flow within, life can feel very, very heavy and hard. And in that case, if you watch this, go and see a spiritual healer that you feel resonant with. Sometimes all that's needed is you can just go and see someone and they can get you going and then give you the tools to work with your own chakra system and life force and get things flowing in your energetic body, and you're able to see things that are blocking you from being in the flow. Sometimes it doesn't quite work if we are very rigid and we go off and do yoga, or we go off and do swimming, and we're like, I need to get in the flow. I feel heavy and tense and tight in my body and in my energy. I need to break out. It doesn't, sometimes when we go and do physical activities to help with that, it doesn't quite work with releasing the density and tightness within the life force flow. And also what happens if you're not fully open with the crown chakra and your channel's not open and you're not flowing in your chakra system and your energy body and your aura, you can find life to feel very, very limited and limiting. You don't feel very connected to the cosmos and to your spirit and to the earthly realm. And you can find with lack of life force and flow that you're not really aligning to stuff that you really truly enjoy. And it's like whatever is going on within you is going. This is not always the case though, because it just depends on your soul pathway. A lot of the times whatever's going in within you is going to reflect back to you. And also when you've got strong life force, you're able to discern really quickly if you want to be a part of someone else's energy or not. And you're able to like just keep on your own current and remove people out of your current that are not flowing with what you're doing. Yes. What else have we got? Making informed decisions to get heavy energies out of your energy body, because they are going to inhibit your flow and joy debris with life. So you've got heavy energies, which would be something like trauma. Say you've had an abusive relationship, drug and alcohol addictions. In that case, if you are struggling with stuff like that, or you want to get rid of those stuff out of your life, but you're finding it really hard to, or you have lots of weight gain you want to get rid of and you can't shift it, there'll be something to do with your life force. And you will be surprised at how we experience these things because of lack of life force and light within our energetic system. And so instead of having all this life force flow and lightness within us, we have these heavy, heavy energies that inhibit us from really flowing with the current of life. What else? Spiritual healing, so the emotional realms is a really big one. Especially if you're a man, but also if you're a woman and you're really disconnected from your emotions. It's very, very common in this day and age to have little to no awareness of your emotional realms and why you're feeling what you're feeling or why you're doing what you're doing. And there's just a lot of density and shutdown in the life force. Emotions also express through life force. And a lot of times when the emotions aren't lightly flowing within, it's going to create heavy and dense emotions and how you experience them. Emotions are life force energy. And if you've got stuff in your energy body, like trauma, you had a difficult childhood, you've had a lot of really disempowering experiences, there are going to be, I almost want to say, a backup of heavy, dense emotions that are going to inhibit you from flowing with the emotions instead. And what happens when the emotions are flowing and light in the energetic system is that you feel emotions and then you cry and then you let it go and you move on. And it's not that you don't feel emotion, but the way that we experience and express emotion changes. When there's a flow of life force and connection to cosmos, a very strong innate connection going on through the chakra system. And so this is from all my own knowledge and wisdom with working with life force and being a spiritual healer. I work with cosmic life force energy when I do healing work, and also with medical intuitive work. And that I've really seen how, especially with emotions and childhood trauma, anything like that that has been in your energy system for a long time is going to affect that flow of emotions. And so when there's a lot of openness in the energy system, the emotions are light and easy, and we can feel them and then let them go. And we're not sort of controlled or dominated by them. And it's easier to navigate emotions. And it's just, we just see emotions as energy, and they are not this good or bad thing. But if you're having really intense, dark, heavy emotions, there'll be stuff going on within your energy system that needs releasing. And then you'll be able to cope with emotions so much easier when there's a flow going on. And so, as I said, when there's an intuitive flow within with life force, you flow with life and you flow with the earth, because everything is made up of life force. So, if you want to let it go and flow, you're going to have to do some life force healing work. And you're going to have to tune into your chakra system and inquire about why you feel a tightness and a heaviness in your body, and what you maybe need to do. Maybe you do need to go do Tai Chi. Maybe you do need to do Qigong. Maybe you do need to go and do some meditation and get back in touch with the body. Maybe you need to do something. I don't know. You would have to meditate and tune in. Almost, I'm going to have some meditations come out soon for this, but like, you want to tune in to the flow within and see where it's backed up. Maybe if you just go into, I'll bring a meditation out shortly for that. But the reason, if you want to know why you feel like you're not flowing with life, it's going to be something to do with your inner realms, your chakra and energy body. And it's not just as simple as going and doing swimming or yoga. Because when there is flow within the physical body, and in the chakra system, and in the energy body, and the connection to cosmos and to the earth realm, your body, I almost want to say your body starts to feel really flowy. And it's easier to do things, and it is your body feels a lot more better and joyous to be in when there's a flow of light and life force, and not trauma and heaviness. So a very good spiritual healer will be able to get you out of the lack of life force and flow, and feeling better and more empowered in the body, and then you work with the flow of life. So there's a lot of stuff out there in the spiritual communities and online that is very, very surface when it comes to get in the flow of life. And it's just not as simple as saying to someone, let it go and flow. Because what happens if you had a really abusive childhood? You're not going to be able to just flow, because you're going to have this heaviness that's going to inhibit you flowing in the body. Okay, that was really good. I've been waiting to do that video for a while. A lot of my healing work, as I said, I work with cosmic life force energy. Life force is the basis of all life. What is going on within, you will experience in some way in the physical realm. There is always ways of working with life force that can make life better and more joyous and more abundant. And abundance truly comes, and that flow of life and the joy-free and enjoyment of life really comes from the flow and connection within to yourself. So that's, spiritual healing can be super amazing. Going to see a medical intuitive can be super amazing, because they can help you, get into those higher, more lighter feelings in the body. Okay, thank you so much for watching.